Welcome to another Sport Horizon video. We are going to have a look at some of my favorite time-saving functions that I am using in Excel for sport. We're going to look at how we can use the concatenate function to create an ID, then take that ID to look up some values. We're going to look at the average ifs based on some criteria, and then how to remove duplicates and find and replace a piece of text or a name or some values and then replace them. So let's just delve into the first one, concat function. The concat function is very handy. I use it a lot. Let's say that I want to combine some things together to create an ID. So we can simply just type equal concat, and we take the text that we would like and we just concat them together. We can close them, and you can see how we just add the different cells that we would like to combine together, and they are just being merged. So in one way we could have a unique ID now. We have the name and the date for a given athlete. You can of course add anything you would like. We could add a space in here. So if we had the signs, we had a space and just a comma, so we separate the different texts. Now we have a comma between, or space between that text. So that's completely up to you, but that's how you can combine things together. And one of the things I mainly use this for is to create just these IDs. Because with these IDs, we can create and use the VLOOKUP function to find some values we're looking for. So let's say that you're creating a session report and you need to find the total distance for that player in that session, then this is just what we're going to do. So in the athlete database then, what we need to do is to combine this one with this one, so we can go and find the total distance for that player on that given date. And the total distance will be over here, so we need to find this given value. What I've done here is that if I modify this one, you can see how this is being changed. So this is just simply just looking up that value, and then this one of course now we have done together. So if we try now to find the total distance, the way we're going to do that is to create a simple athlete ID here as well. So using the concat function, we can type athlete ID concat. We take the athlete, we add a space, and we take the session date. So if we just open this one, we pull it all the way down, we have a session ID for every single player. If we come now to this one and we try the VLOOKUP function, we can now look for this given value. So for this given value, please have a look in this database. So we know that it's at the very end. We see it's 38 columns, so we need to remember 38. Come all the way down, Control and Shift I use, and we just need to lock this one. So F4, make sure you have the $sign, so that's all locked. And once that is done, you can hit comma, and then remember it was in the column on 38. So what it's going to do is that in the athlete database, it's going to look in this first column for the athlete ID, and when he finds that one, he will go to column 38 and give us that value. We will just hit comma, and we would like this to be an exact match, so we select false, we hit there, and there we go. So if we pull that down, you can see how we got a value for all of those athletes that have a session on that given day. So Mark Rodriguez did not have a session. If we select a different date, we might have a session for these guys. So some of them are not training, and that's completely fine. So we can see how that's worked perfectly. What we need to do now then is we can of course modify this one so we don't get the error. So if we add a if error on the beginning, if error, just give us a blank, and you can close this one. So now if we pull this one down, you can see how it's just leaving a blank whenever there is an error. So that's the concatenate and VLOOKUP. If you wanted, you can also put this concat function in the value here. So instead of having this athlete ID, you can generate the athlete ID in the function, but that's a little bit more advanced. So don't worry if you're not comfortable with that. So that's how you use the VLOOKUP function. Create a value, go in the database, select the space where you want a value to be searched from, make sure the ID is in the first of these columns here, then assign the column where you want the number from, and there you go. The next one we are going to have a look at is the average if function. So if we come in here, we'll select the average if. He's going to ask you for a range. Where would you like the range to be calculated from? Well, I want it from the sprint distance. So let's go and find the sprint distance, which I believe is over here. Let's see if we can find it. Maybe it was at the beginning, or maybe not. It was at the very end. Let's see if we can find the sprint distance. There we go. We can hit a comma, and then we need to specify a criteria, a range that is going through the criteria, and I would like that to be the player name. So we can hit comma, and now which names would you like to be the criteria? Well, I would like it to be James Smith. So I can close the parenthesis, and now he's calculating that average for me. If I wanted it to be average just for games or a given date type, so let's see, for example, here we have the date type here. So let's say I want for all the NS days to be calculated from. We can add another criteria. So as we just keep adding a comma, we can add more criteria. So the range 2 will be this one, so the date type. And in this case, we just need to type that this needs to be equal to NS. We can close this one and we can hit enter. So now he's taking the average only when there is NS. If we wanted to add an if error here again, so to remove this one, feel free to do that as well, no problem at all. The next thing we're going to have a look at is removing duplicates. This one is very, very handy. So as an example, I will just copy all of this. I will add it in here and just add it to a random column here. So let's say I wanted to have all the athletes, but just one value. I can select the column, I can come to data, and from here you have this beautiful function called remove duplicates. If you hit this one, you simply select OK. You can see now that we had 4,300 values. Now we have 29. So what we could have done is that we could have just copy and pasted this and pasted it in here. And now we have all the unique athletes straight away. So it's a very, very efficient way. If you wanted to do the same with which type of date types do we have, you can do the same again. Let's come in here, put this one, remove duplicates. There you go, and that's the number of different date types that you have. So it's a very, very efficient way to do it. The next thing we're going to have a look at is, and the final thing, is to how to replace. So let's say as an example that I didn't want it to be MD, I would like it to be day instead, or date type, or match day. What I can do then is you can select Control H, but what I'm going to do is come to Home, find and select, and replace. What are you going to find? Well, you're going to look for the MD, and you're going to replace that with match day. And if I now select Replace All, you can see how straight away all of those have been replaced with match day. So it's a very, very handy feature that I use quite a lot. And one of the things I normally use it for is when flicking between the different types of Excel, sometimes there is a comma, sometimes there is a semicolon. You can remove all the dots or the comma and then replace with whatever you like. Or there is a name that you spelled wrong consistently, and you can just update that by searching for that name, and there you go. So Control H brings you up all of this, search for a name, replace it, and off you go. So that was my quick 5 time efficient and time saving features that I use quite a lot in Excel. I really hope you like them. Please comment below which are your favorite functions, and maybe we can do a video on them as well. So feel free to share your thoughts on that, and I will see you in the next video.